Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Laura Childs, and we are on this blab session today to talk about the 4 stages of keto. And sorry about the crazy hair, but it's been a long Monday. um, these wouldn't be medical conditions or medical symptoms or stages of keto. This would be just what we've seen in the last 2 years dealing with going through the process ourselves, but also helping others through coaching or consulting by email, by phone, and Veronica does consulting by Skype as well. So we thought that this topic would be important because it's something that we see come up all the time, and nobody else is really talking about it. Nobody warned us what we were in for, right, Veronica, when we took that leap of faith and said, hey, let's do low carb, high fat, or let's do keto. Definitely went through some psychological stages and changes that we'd like to talk about. As I said, my name is Laura Childs. I'm 51 years old, and I started this diet because my doctor told me that I had medical conditions that were going to get a heck of a lot worse if I didn't do something about my weight and my diet. Veronica is my co-author. She helped design the book, the recipes, and the content that went into the book, even though it is an independently published book, and in some ways it's kind of thrown together as are both of our notebooks, combined notebooks. But it's done very well. It's helped a lot of people. We have a young gentleman who's lost 100 pounds following the diet. We have a young woman who's lost 80. We have a pile of people who are too shy to send us before and after pictures, but like to talk to us privately. I have lost 70 pounds. Veronica's lost 55. And I think that's basically all we really have to say introducing ourselves. We have a relatively active Facebook group. We actually have 2 Facebook groups. I don't know why. And 2 websites where we talk about the diet. We've now published 4 books. The last 3 were recipe books, where we focus mainly on low carb, because even though we're low carb, high fat, keto people, most people have a problem keeping their carbs down. So we figured if we could give them some good recipes that were low carb, that also introduce them to some good nutrition so that they could see their macros at a glance with any recipe, it would be more helpful. Everybody can increase their fats easily. You scoop on the mayonnaise, you add a couple of slices of bacon to your meal, you load on the olive oil, you eat the butter, you eat the cheese. Adding fat's actually really easy. So, Veronica, is there anything you'd like to say after my big long spiel introduction?
Thank you everyone who is watching, and thank you to everyone who is listening. Replay viewers, we really appreciate it. We love knowing that our message is heard, whether it's you're here live and you're chatting with us, or you're in one of the boxes chatting with us, or you're just watching it as a replay. And like Mom said, we would love to have you connect on our Facebook pages, Instagram pages. You can add us as friends on Facebook. We're pretty open people. And yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. My heart is pounding like crazy right now because I'm actually so nervous. So this is my 3rd blab, and I was trying to figure out today why I was being so nervous about today. And I think it's really important for me to tell people, or for both of us to tell people, that we're not here because we need to sell more books. I mean, we make like $1 off of every book we sell, if that. One of them has so many photos in it, we make 80 cents. This is not about being a New York Times bestseller. This is not about, being #1 on Amazon. The reason why I get so nervous when I talk about the diet, even if it's to friends, is because I feel like we're ambassadors for the diet, but also because it's very important to us that more people get healthy. And if we can inspire, I'm actually kind of a shy person, so if me showing up can help to inspire more people to at least look at this diet, then my life has more depth, more meaning, and more purpose. So that's why I get nervous and shy, is because it's important. It's important to me. So we're already getting questions, Veronica, in the chat, but I think I'm just going to introduce the concept of the diet, and then we'll get to questions. Do you think that's okay? It's for me really just to stay on track.
I'll put you back on track. I go by Doc asked, how is this compared to the slow carb diet? I don't know when you say slow carb if you mean low carb. I'm not familiar with the slow carb, but like a ketogenic diet is kind of like a low carb high fat diet. And radium, when you say keto, are you referring to ketosis? Yes, keto is a ketogenic diet, so when your body does go into ketosis. And Christy, such good information for us to talk about and encourage each other with. I love that word. I love the word encourage and encouragement. We want to be able to encourage you or to help you in any way to become more healthy and to feel better. I go by Doc. I haven't heard of slow carb. Mom, have you heard of slow carb?
Not particularly, but I'm thinking it's slow burning carbs. So that's, where you're eating lots of good vegetables, lots of good fruit, so that it's all natural. The fiber in there helps the carbs to burn slower, is my guess.
I guess we're like low and slow carbs.
We're low and slow.
all of the vegetables we eat, they're slow burning, low carbs. Christy wants to know if we can give an overview of our eating plan, and we will I think at the end of this we can do that.
Will you remember? Do you want me to write that down?
Sorry?
Would you like me to write that down?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to jump in and just do a quick explanation of what ketosis is, or what the ketogenic diet is. There are two separate processes that our metabolism can operate. One is glucose burning and the other is fat burning. These are completely normal processes. It goes back as far as the caveman day, or even more recently, in the small farmer day. It's a feast or famine response. The Inuit are, or maybe not so much now in modern times, but they were definitely all in ketosis. They could survive long winters almost all year largely on fat. And it's the same for North American farmers before the second industrial era, before we had factories and canning and all the rest of it. Everybody lived off of what they either grew or could trade. In the growing season, you're eating a lot of, high carb vegetables and fruit. And in the cold seasons, you're eating whatever could be stored or whatever could be built by yourself. So this is completely normal metabolic process. We don't have to go back to the Paleolithic era to look at it. We're going back to the 1850s of really how we all lived. So
that thing is crazy. When we say that your body can burn fat that you eat and stored fat for energy, it's legit. Like, it's an actual thing that not a lot of people know about, and it's exciting because we are told that you eat carbs because carbs give you energy, and that's the way that I don't know, at least that's the way that I grew up in high school or even in college when I had like a health class or something like that. They said, you get your energy from sugars and carbs. I never second guessed that because that's what I was taught. Whereas now I know better, like my body will burn off my stored fat and burn off that butter and bacon and cheese that I eat and be totally happy to do so. A lot of people think that it's really, really radical, think that your body can burn off fat. Like, no, not a lot. Stuttering. Not a lot of people are talking about it. At least they weren't 2 years ago. And now that people are starting to learn more, they are, because it's exciting. We are constantly learning new things that our bodies can do. And we're able to say, no, I'm sorry, I don't have to eat carbs for energy. And I'm not saying it's fun to argue with people about it, but at least I probably get in an argument, or not an argument, but like what's the word I'm looking for, called Mom?
A heated discussion?
A heated discussion or a debate about these things that our bodies can do that people don't always know. And I don't know. I think it's, yes, Brittany, debate, thank you. I think it's exciting. And I love when people actually think, okay, if my body can do this, what else can it do? And if I'm learning all these new things, then has everything else that I've been taught about health as a whole been either wrong or maybe misguided? Or I find when someone learns, that their body can do more than just burn carbs, it can also burn fat, that they start kind of questioning health as a whole and things like that. I don't know.
I agree. So, and that kind of answers the same question of when people ask, is this a fad diet? Is low carb, high fat some kind of fad diet? It's not a diet, it's a way of eating, and there's nothing fad about it, because unless, caveman days and pre-industrial revolution days was all just a fad as well. So, but the other thing that, Veronica, you said that I think is very important that we talk about, or at least pay homage to, is that you did say when you teach your body to live off fats instead of carbs, or, high fat diet instead of carbs, when there's no food in your stomach at the moment and your body needs energy, it's going to look for the stored fat. And that's why this diet is so effective for weight loss. Right? So once you switch over to that fat burning mode, then you have the ability to burn the stored fat. So you're not trying to run it off on an exercise machine or sweat it off in a sauna or any other kind of tricks or hacks. Your body, your natural metabolic ability is going to switch into that. Are you getting a lot of feedback, Princess? When I talk? Are you getting a lot of feedback and echo?
A little, not much.
Okay. Okay, so with that said, do you want to just slip into the 4 stages? We'll just go through them quickly. It seems like we have a lot of people here, and there's going to be probably a lot of questions. So I can just run through them quickly. Why aren't you smiling, darling?
I printed out the big, like all of our little notes so that we can stay on track.
Oh, look at you.
I was just reading through one.
All right.
Yeah, we can go through the stages now.
Okay, so today I thought, I have these stages in my mind that I think that we all go through when we've been on a ketogenic diet for any length of time, but there was they needed, sorry?
Can I interrupt?
No, yes.
Okay, so I know there's some people here and there's some people watching. I just want to know how many of you are actually doing a keto or a low carb high fat diet right now. So if you are, just comment saying yes. That way I can, I don't know, for my own personal, I guess, wanting, I want to know who's actually doing it or who's just excited to, type of thing. So sorry for interrupting you, Mom. I promise I won't do it again.
It's okay. It's all right. It was relevant here.
Yeah.
So anyway, the 4 stages, because this is something I just started working, or we just started working through and figuring out on our own based on what we've learned. I tried to give them a name. So the first stage I called sugar addiction. So that's the first stage of dealing with the sugar addiction. It's like what almost, at least our people, have to go through when they first start out. And I'm saying our people, meaning our readers, our Facebook group, the people that anybody that we connect with. But the ketogenic diet is actually good for other things. It's used for other medical conditions and purposes. And one of the really exciting things, just because it's exciting to me just because of the state that our country is in about cancer, is that a lot of people are using ketogenic diet to deal with cancer. And I don't want to get into that because A, I'm not educated enough in it, and B, I don't want to be a whole heavy downer on this conversation. But if there's enough people interested in knowing more about keto and cancer, we do have professionals that we send people to when they contact us saying that their oncologist suggested that they get our book and that they follow a low carb, high fat diet. So just to kind of clear that up, there's two camps of people that we connect with initially. Most of them are all about weight loss. And usually with that comes the sugar addiction. There's a reason why people have gained weight. It's not because they're lazy. It's not because their metabolism's broken. It's, not because of anything. It's just that they haven't learned to hack into their fat burning mode based on their diet because they have overdosed. And I am not making any judgment calls here. If you looked at my before pictures, you'd know I came from the exact same place, which you can find on Facebook. You can find them on Google. You can find them anywhere. So first we have to deal with that sugar addiction. And I'm not just talking cupcakes. I'm talking flour, high carb vegetables, highly concentrated vegetables, sugar, high fructose corn syrup. What am I missing, Veronica? Rice, any starchy vegetable, any sweet vegetable, breads. There you go. A lot of those foods we've all come to believe as being healthy. I mean, wheat's healthy. It's a plant, right? So is a potato. Potato's healthy. Rice is healthy. They're all plants. They should be good for us. They should be something that our bodies can handle, but we eat them. We eat too much of them, not to mention the fact that we've kind of bastardized them by overgrowing them. And so that's another blab, maybe, talking about GMO and organic and all the rest of it. But for now, we'll just leave it as the sugar addiction. So stage one is learning to eat low carb, high fat so that you can deal with the sugar addiction. It is the hardest step. Any diet for weight loss, that first step is the hardest step. Most other diets, though, will starve you into losing weight. The ketogenic diet does not. When Veronica and I first started dieting, we ate all day, every day, just shutting up that sugar monster. So we would eat eggs. We would eat slabs of bacon, chunks of cheese. I snacked on almonds all day because I work from home. So the kitchen is 10 feet away from me. And it's a heck of a lot easier to shut that sugar monster up, get over that carb addiction, get over that sugar addiction when you are allowed to eat food. As long as
food, not boring things, like not just a salad with no dressing or
chicken breast, like poached chicken breast.
You get to eat real exciting, yummy food.
Yeah, pouring on the butter, pouring on the hollandaise sauce, slathering your foods and slathering your salads in olive oil, whatever. Yeah, so dealing with the sugar addiction, that's stage one. Once that's dealt with, everybody starts feeling better. Everybody starts, losing weight. The sugar monster, for the most part, is shut up, even if you have a pretty bad addiction. I had a pretty bad addiction. And so I would cheat. That's basically phase one. So phase two, what we usually find happening with people is a moment of awareness. All of a sudden, they're losing weight, they've got more energy, they're feeling fantastic, they are aware of how their body feels, they start to become aware of what is a normal craving and what is a crazy craving, like a potato chip or a cupcake craving. And through that awareness, they become more excited about nutrition. So they start studying more, they start asking more questions, they start, they're feeling great. And it's like the fabulous first stage. You start experimenting with different foods because in the beginning, maybe you were kind of scared about adding too much spice or eating too much food. The other fabulous thing that happens in that stage is that the hunger really wanes. So did you find this too, Veronica? Is that when you started feeling really good about weight loss, you forget to?
I forget to eat now.
Yes. That's actually in stage 3 and stage 4 as well. But that's when it really starts showing up, that you are feeding your body enough, your body's snacking on any of that stored fat, no matter where you have it. And so you become self-aware and you become more excited about learning more about metabolic processes and nutrition, and your sleep will get better. The third phase is what I named today, because I needed a name, was hack fasting. So everybody loves to think that they can hack into their bodies, hack into their minds, hack into their nutrition, whatever. I'm not particularly fond of that, except for it is kind of fun. And fasting, because the hunger has waned, or intermittent fasting, becomes more interesting to people. They realize that when they're not hungry all the time, they can go longer without food, and their body is going to burn more of that stored fat. They start being more careful about their nutrition and get cleaner in their fats that they're eating. And fasting is well documented. It's a very good thing for your body to go through. Again, we can look back to the caveman. We can look back to the farmer. It is a healthy way to detox, bring clarity to your life, and also show you that you don't need to eat 6 times a day. In fact, I was on a blab a couple of days ago, and Jimmy Moore was on the blab. If you don't know who Jimmy Moore is, he has been very public about his weight loss journey. He started out years ago online with a company called Kimkins or something, which ended up being, I think, a bit of a scam. And Jimmy did lose some weight on that program, but then he found out about low carb. He started eating low carb. I don't know how long it took him, but he lost 180 pounds, which is a person. That's more than I weigh right now. Yes. So lately, Jimmy's been doing a low carb, high fat, or ketogenic diet. And he just launched a book, and I actually have purchased it, but I haven't had a chance to review it. But on the blab, he was on day 6 of a fast. So for 6 days, he had not, and I think this is true, he may have been eating coconut oil or something, but he hasn't been eating for 6 days. And he had more clarity of mind, more presence, more energy, more, I don't know, whatever, than I have right now. And I've eaten today, and I slept last night. He was so well put together on day 6 of not fasting, and I think he was planning on doing a few more days. So it is completely natural. We can absolutely do it. I will give a qualifying comment, though, is that if anybody's planning on doing a fast for that long, you might, and it's your first, I wouldn't do it for your first one, but it is especially helpful if you have enough fat on your body to support it, and you want to be in ketosis before you go in it. So your body has to be in a fat burning metabolism to go into any kind of a fast healthfully. Otherwise, you're going to get brain fog. You could pass out. God only knows what happens to sugar burners. I'm not entirely sure.
If you're a sugar burner and you fast for, it's hurting my brain. I'm pretty sure if you're a sugar burner and you fast for longer than 36 hours, your body starts burning off your muscle stores like wildfire. So, Brittany did ask a question. She wanted to know how many hours we recommend fasting at a time. I think intermittent fasting is what I honestly do by accident, just because I don't need to eat in the mornings. I used to love, breakfast was my thing. I would have the biggest breakfast in the world because that's what I was always taught. And now we usually eat around, I guess, 5 o'clock, I'm going to say, maybe 6. And I usually don't eat again until 2. So 2 p.m. the next day.
Right.
that's what I do.
So, and I do something like that too. I consider it to be about an 18-hour intermittent fast, and I don't do it all the time, but a lot of times my life works out this way. I eat dinner at 6 o'clock, and then I just coast on through until lunch. And lunch could even be something light. That's 18 hours. So you stop eating after dinner, 6 o'clock, 6:30, and you don't eat again till lunch. It's so easy. And it's especially easy when you have a little bit of extra fat on your body, especially easy when you're already in ketosis.
But when I do eat lunch, I make sure I'm eating fat. Like, I make sure I'm putting fat back into my body. And I think Brittany also asked, how do we know we're in ketosis? You can just kind of tell. I don't know. I can just kind of tell because the sugar cravings go away. My mind is clear. I can, I guess, like, pick up on things really fast. I'm way more sassy when I'm in ketosis, just saying. But in the beginning, we didn't know how to tell. And I saw Annie Mac 77 did comment that you can get the keto strips. I think ketosis strips. I don't remember what they're called.
Keto sticks.
Yeah, those. And you literally just pee on them, and then it has like a color guide for you to see if you have trace amount of ketones or if you have high amount of ketones.
It's so much fun.
Sorry?
It's so much fun.
I don't find it fun. Gross, but it's kind of like color changes, and you're like, hey, ketosis. But I don't think they're overly expensive. I feel like one of those big container full of like 50 or 100 strips are around $30. You just go and you ask your pharmacist for it.
Exactly. And there's actually lots of ways to tell. So Veronica, when you're in ketosis because you're usually in it, unless you've been having a crazy carb binge.
Carb binges.
But there's others. I mean, you could test your blood too to see if you're in ketosis. There's blood ketone strips. They're very expensive. But also some other things will happen, like you start to smell. So, and not everybody goes through this, but some people get really bad breath, and some people get really bad BO, and some people have really stinky feet. So those are, I know, right? And these are things that I love talking about, but they are.
Someone told me the other day, oh my gosh, like your breath stinks. And I'm like, I know, it's because I'm in ketosis. And then they're like, oh, well, it's ketosis. And I'm like, let me pop in a piece of gum before I tell you about ketosis.
So, oh my gosh, your bad breath is like teaching people about how to get healthy.
I know.
That's kind of funny.
I brush my teeth like 3 times a day.
Yeah, I know. I don't know too much about the bad breath thing because I don't have to be around people. So it could smell really bad and I wouldn't even know. Who's going to know? The dogs? Anyway, so stage 4. Stage 4 I call optimal health. And it is basically you have learned enough about nutrition to almost be dangerous. And you are feeling incredible. I don't know how else to explain it except for my personal story. I'm 51 years old, and I honestly feel like I'm about 35 years old. So when your energy is high, you're sleeping better at night, you are smiling more, your skin looks better, you are buying nutrition books like crazy because you need to know more about superfoods and detoxing and how to make your eyes shine brighter or God knows whatever your interest is in. All of a sudden you went from being somebody who could care less about nutrition to somebody who's like stacked on it all the time. So that's stage 4. And I'm thinking that if a weight loss diet can get you to a stage where you want to live longer and where you learn that you can eat to live longer and better, then that's the best diet in the world. There's no other.
It's so exciting. No other. It's so exciting learning new things about nutrition and learning things that our body can do and learning about what food actually does when it goes into your body. And the fact that just cutting out carbs and eating more delicious fats and healthy fats can kind of trigger something in your brain to be like, oh, well, if my body can do this, like, let me learn more. And it, like you said, stage 4 is totally optimal health. But I think when you're in stage 4, it's really, how do I say, like, it's so easy to want to learn more and to want to make more changes and to want to like switch to organic or GMO free or everything.
Yeah. Yeah, you really start to become food, which was just food, which was just something that you prepared for your family, something that had to taste a particular way, something that you did to celebrate with friends, food that was just a friend when you were lonely, food that was a snack when you were bored, food that was really just for your tongue, all of a sudden takes on a whole new meaning. Food becomes the very thing you're made of. Every single thing that goes into your mouth, not every single thing, many things that go into your mouth become your cells. So eventually that broccoli, that whatever is going to be a part of you. And so all of a sudden it becomes really important into, it's like, yeah, what do they say? You are what you eat, right? So, I mean, and that's so true. So very true. So, yeah. So that.
If you do bulletproof coffee for breakfast, I think you used to put coconut oil and butter in your coffee. Did you?
I didn't actually put butter in my coffee, but I did put coconut oil in my coffee, and I still do sometimes put coconut oil in my coffee. I like it.
I personally don't.
Sorry?
I personally don't.
No, Veronica, you're not a lover of coconut oil. You don't like the taste. You don't like much about it, but.
But honestly, like if I wanted to, I would just take. If I wanted to put coconut oil in butter in my coffee, to be honest, I'd probably take a spoonful of coconut oil and eat it, and then take a spoonful of butter and then eat it, and then wash it down with my coffee. I think for me, my coffee has to taste like coffee. I don't want it to taste like even a hint of coconut from the coconut oil or butter. And I've tried it. It's not that I haven't tried the bulletproof coffee. I've tried it. But I'm very odd about the things that I eat. They have to taste how they're supposed to taste. Like coffee has to taste like coffee. Butter has to taste like butter. You know? Does that make sense?
It does. And I think the other thing too about all of that is that you bring up a good point, maybe without meaning to, is that we've got people saying bulletproof coffee is amazing. And I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so I don't know who's saying anything. And that's the beauty of the ketogenic diet, is that if you don't like coconut oil, you're going to eat some other kind of oil. If you don't like broccoli, you're going to eat cauliflower. Like, this diet is not restrictive on what you're going to eat. There is a world of food out there, and if you don't like, butter cheese, then I don't know, eat bacon or something to increase your fats. Like, it's not like, I don't even know what that weight loss diet was, Veronica, that you and I did years ago back when we were building the house, but it was like the salad and the chicken breast kind of thing, right? You're not allowed to eat a thigh.
A chicken breast with 3 cups of baby spinach with some balsamic vinegar every single day, 2 to 3 times a day. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But that's the point. So this is a real food diet. We're not telling anybody you got to buy our special oil, or you can only have this protein powder, or you can only eat these 5 things. The world's a massive place, and there are piles of choices in food.
Someone said try adding some low carb mocha flavored protein powder for an extra treat. I don't touch
Veronica,
protein.
Easy.
Protein powder. I don't really like it, just only because even if it's low carb, it's still got a ton of sweeteners in it. It has, and I understand like chicory root and stevia, they're natural. That's okay. But your body is still getting that sweet response. So your body, you're going to crave it later on. Also, protein powder it's a thing for me. It's obviously highly processed, and there are some better ones. Like Dalton works out, so he does drink a protein powder or whatever, do what you want. But when we went to the store to get one, we made sure it was New Zealand, from New Zealand, which means there's no hormones, it's non-GMO, and all of those things. So we made sure to get one of the absolute best ones. And I think that when you're doing a keto diet and when you're kind of in at least the stage that I am, you don't want to be putting processed things into your body. And for me, protein powder is just very, very processed.
Right. And
I don't think it comes as a powder. It freaks me out.
yes.
A drink that's all frothy and sweet. I don't know. It's just odd to me, and it can't do nice things to your body just because of how processed it is.
And protein powder too may be a fine thing for a hack later on. Like once you know you can get control of your weight and your blood sugar and everything out and your health and everything is in line, you can hear how your body's responding, you can feel how you feel, and you want to do a little hack with protein powder, then maybe. But like you said, with good quality protein powder. You might one day, Veronica, you might.
No, I won't. Because that's me. That's what I think. That's how I know my body would react. That's what I don't want to be putting into my system. And I have no problem telling people that. And I think it's completely fine if I tell you that and you still have your protein powder, you still go on your own journey. That is okay. I just want to tell you what I think and how I feel about it. And if you don't feel that way, that's okay. I don't think that, let's say I posted that on Instagram and then hashtag did a bunch of things. Can you imagine the amount of people that would be yelling at me, telling me I'm wrong? Well, in my mind, I'm not. And just because it's written on one website that protein powder is the most, is heaven and is angel tears falling from the sky, then that's okay. But that's not the way that I feel. And I think a lot of, or at least some, diets or certain lifestyles tend to be very judgmental. And in all honesty, it's a personal journey. It's not like the ketogenic diet or the keto hybrid like we're doing this is how you do it. This is the only way to do it. You have to eat these certain things, just like you said, you have to eat these certain foods at these certain times. It's all a personal journey to the end goal, which is stage 4 optimal health.
Excellent. So I see in our comments, and I don't know if you already touched upon it because now I'm less nervous, so I'm kind of over myself. But M.A. Shamar asked, are there RCTs about the effectiveness of low carb, high fat diet? What's an RCT?
I don't know.
Okay. So somebody else is saying our personal keto diet, the diet that you.
Randomized control trials.
Sorry, what was the first one?
Randomized control trials.
Okay, I'm sure there is, but
I don't have any off the top of my head.
Yeah. So and Ibris123 is saying that they do a version of keto, but the version that we are talking about has too many high-fat processed meats and dairy. Do you want to respond to that? I think maybe it's because I talked about bacon and cheese too much. I don't know.
I understand that a lot of the bacon and a lot of the cheese that you buy from the grocery store, let's say, is very, very highly processed. Don't get me wrong. When I eat bacon, at least, my bacon comes from my butcher. And Mom, you can talk about how the butcher makes it and the curing and everything else, because to be honest, I trust that it is amazing. It's nitrate free. It's from local pigs. I almost said cows. It's from local pigs, and it's not highly processed. And I think a lot of people think that dairy, it can be a very bad thing, and anything can be a very bad thing because it's a personal journey. If your body doesn't like dairy, you're not going to feel well when you eat it. My body loves dairy. My body would be happy to eat cheese all damn day long, but I don't. And it is odd when you think about it that we are the only cat. We are the only, sorry, that's my cat. We're the only ones that drink and or eat milk from another animal after we've grown. I don't know how to say that, but in a way that doesn't sound odd. It is a little weird. And a lot of people seem to think that at least on certain ketogenic diets, there's no dairy and I guess no processed meats. But I see a lot of people at least posting recipes that have a ton of cheese sauce and a bunch of like salami or like roast beef. You know those like roast beef things at the grocery store that you can buy and like all those little slices and the little $5 packets?
Yes.
Like what's actually in there?
Yeah. And also they're often sometimes kind of green. I don't know what the heck that is.
I don't understand. If I go into the grocery store now after buying from my farmer's market and from my butcher, I can't even look at the colors of the meats because it just freaks me right out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I don't think I eat processed meat. Eric is connected to a lot of hunters, so that's going to open up some controversy there. But anyway, we get venison and we do beef jerky. Sorry, venison jerky. Everything we get is from, not everything, sorry, a lot of what we get is from the local butcher, so they know how things are grown. We're actually in a farming community in Ontario. And then we have a farm that's about 20 miles away from us that has all grass-fed on their own property. So, but in the winter, they do give them a little bit of corn, which is pretty much standard if you've ever farmed before. We came from a farming community years ago. It's a pretty standard way to raise cattle without pumping them full of drugs or hormones to help them deal with the high corn diets of feedlots, which is a whole other level. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, I don't know how I gave the impression that I was eating a lot of processed meats because I don't. I eat pretty clean meat. For the longest time, I would say easily for the first 8 months of dieting, I made my own bacon. So I cured my own bacon in a Ziploc bag in the fridge for 10 days. The recipe for that's in the book. But now everything we get is, like I said, when we do bacon, we do it from the butchers. I don't know. I feel really bad that I somehow made this diet like it was full of processed meats. Did I do that wrong, or is that just somebody mistook it?
I don't think you did.
Okay, thank you. I mean, everything is 50% what we say and 50% how it's perceived. So, Veronica, this one's for you because you have the nutritional training behind you now.
I'm unsure.
Sorry?
If it's about the hormones, I'm unsure. You're the one that has the experience.
I'm the one that has experience with hormones. Thanks. No, actually, we can have that conversation. But this question is, what type of fats are we talking about?
Oh my gosh, we're talking about all of the good fats. So we're talking about great made butter and coconut oil and bacon grease. Yes, from good bacon. Hamburger juice. What else? I just got so excited. Things like hollandaise, yes, coconut oil is an amazing fat. Avocados, see, healthy, good fats. Only the best olive oil you can find. And I'm just trying to think about what I have in my fridge that's fatty. Great cheeses and fatty cuts of meat, like really fatty, like pork belly, so like bacon or pork chops or what am I thinking? Oh my gosh, chicken thighs, which I haven't had it forever, and I really want a chicken thighs right now. Just cooking coconut oil, insanely good tasting and hella healthy fat. Just for me, the coconut oil, the taste, I sometimes can't get over it, even though I will cook with it sometimes. I am half Italian, so I am an olive oil and butter freak.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is when we talk about fats, we're not necessarily saying, pour on the lard on everything, pour on the butter on everything, pour on the olive oil on everything. It's like you mentioned, Veronica, a lot of it's just fatty foods. So that's your pork butt chop or your what?
I said, and your nuts.
And your nuts, yes, right. So yeah, any almonds, walnuts, pistachio, macadamia, all of those nuts are high fat. There you go.